Let me ask you something, just between us. How does your stomach feel after you eat these days? Because if you're like so many people over 60, the answer might be, not quite as comfortable as it used to. Maybe there's bloating that leaves you feeling heavy and puffed up. Maybe things don't move along the way they once did, and you find yourself uncomfortable and irregular. Maybe certain foods you enjoyed your whole life suddenly seem to disagree with you now. And maybe, like most people, you've simply learned to live with it quietly, assuming it's just another part of getting older that you have to put up with. But here is what I want you to understand today, because it may change the way you think about your health entirely. Your gut, your whole digestive system, is far more powerful and far more important than most people ever realize. It is not just a simple tube that processes your meals. It is, in many ways, the very foundation of how you feel every single day. Your gut is where your body takes the food you eat and pulls out all the goodness, the nutrients, the vitamins, the energy that every other part of you depends on to stay strong. And it's home to a whole living community of tiny, helpful bacteria that scientists are only beginning to fully understand. A community that research suggests may be connected to your digestion, your immune system, and even your mood and your sense of well-being. In other words, when your gut isn't happy, it isn't just your stomach that suffers. You can feel it everywhere, in your energy, in your comfort, in how well your body absorbs the good things you feed it. And here's why this matters so much after 60. As we age, our digestion naturally does begin to slow down and change. Things move a little more sluggishly. Our body may not absorb nutrients quite as easily as it once did. And these gentle changes are exactly why so many older people struggle with discomfort, bloating, and irregularity, and why so many of them suffer in silence, thinking nothing can be done. But so much can be done, and that's the wonderful news I want to share with you today, because caring for your gut and getting your digestion working comfortably again comes down to a handful of simple, gentle, everyday habits. So today, I'm going to walk you through 7 of them. 7 habits for a happier gut and better digestion after 60. And the 7th one, the very last habit, is the one I most want you to hold on to, because knowing it could one day matter a great deal. So please, stay with me right to the end. Now, just a quick and honest word before we begin. Everything I share today is general guidance offered with care, not medical advice, so please check with your doctor about your own digestion and health. With that said, let's gently begin. And before we do, I'd love to know who's here with me today. So tell me down in the comments, has your digestion changed as you've gotten older? Be honest. Now, you're among friends. I read every single one. All right? Let's talk about that very first habit. The first habit, and one of the most powerful of all for your gut, is to make sure you're getting enough fiber. Now, fiber is simply the part of plant foods that your body doesn't fully digest, and that turns out to be a wonderful thing. As it passes through you, fiber works like a gentle broom, helping to keep everything moving along smoothly and keeping you comfortably regular. And if constipation is something you struggle with, as so many of us do after 60, getting enough fiber is often the single most helpful change you can make. But fiber does even more than that. It also becomes food for all those helpful little bacteria living in your gut, helping that good community thrive. So where do you find it? In whole grains, like oats and whole grain bread, in fruits and vegetables of every kind, in beans and lentils, and in nuts and seeds. Try to bring a little more of these good, plant-rich foods onto your plate. One gentle piece of advice, though. If you're not used to much fiber, add it slowly, a little at a time, so your body can adjust comfortably. Small, steady increases are far kinder to your stomach than a sudden change. Which brings us naturally to the second habit, because these two go hand in hand. Drink enough water. You see, all that wonderful fiber we just talked about needs water to do its job properly. Without enough fluid, fiber can actually make constipation worse rather than better, so the two truly work as a team. And here's something so important for us to remember after 60. As we age, our sense of thirst often becomes weaker, which means we can be a little dehydrated without ever feeling thirsty at all. And too little water is one of the most common reasons for sluggish, uncomfortable digestion. So make gentle, steady sips of water a regular habit throughout your day, rather than waiting until you feel thirsty. Keep a glass or a bottle nearby where you can see it, as a friendly reminder. Water is one of the simplest and most powerful gifts you can give your gut, and it costs you nothing at all. And that leads us into the third habit, which is to bring some friendly bacteria into your gut through the foods you eat. Remember that living community of helpful bacteria we talked about? Well, you can gently support and nourish it. There are certain foods, often called fermented foods, that naturally contain these good bacteria. The most familiar one is plain yogurt, with its live cultures. There's also kefir, which is a drinkable fermented milk that many people find gentle and easy on the stomach. And in many kitchens you'll find others, like sauerkraut. Adding a little of these to your day can help keep that inner community of good bacteria healthy and balanced, which supports your whole digestion. A small bowl of plain yogurt, perhaps with a few berries and a sprinkle of oats, makes a lovely gut-friendly start to the day. Just be sure to choose the plain kind where you can, rather than the ones loaded with added sugar, which your gut doesn't love nearly as much. The fourth habit is to keep your body gently moving, because believe it or not, movement helps your digestion move too. When you're active, even gently, it helps encourage the natural, wave-like motion that moves food along through your system. This is a big part of why sitting still for very long stretches can leave things feeling sluggish and backed up. So you don't need anything strenuous at all. A gentle walk after a meal is one of the loveliest things you can do for your digestion. A little pottering in the garden, some light stretching, moving about the house. All of it helps wake up your digestion and keep things flowing comfortably. As always, do whatever gentle movement suits your own body, and check with your doctor before starting anything new. But do try to work a little movement into your day, especially after eating. Your gut will thank you for it. Now, if you're finding this helpful so far, do me one small kindness and tap that like button. It genuinely helps this reach more good people our age. Thank you so much. Now, on to the fifth habit. The fifth habit is to slow down and be gentle with the way you eat. This one is so simple, and yet so often overlooked. You see, good digestion actually begins in the mouth. When you chew your food well and take your time, you break it down properly and give your stomach a much easier job to do. But when we rush and gulp our food down half-chewed, we hand our digestion a much harder task, and that's when discomfort and bloating so often creep in. So try to slow down at mealtimes. Chew each bite well and thoroughly. Put your fork down between bites if it helps. And rather than one or two very large, heavy meals that sit hard in the stomach, some people find their digestion is far happier with smaller, more moderate meals spread through the day. Eating in a calm, relaxed, unhurried way, rather than rushed or stressed, genuinely helps your body digest more comfortably. So make your mealtimes a gentle, peaceful part of your day. Your stomach digests best when you're calm. The sixth habit is to be mindful of the things that tend to upset your gut. Just as certain foods soothe and support your digestion, others can stir up trouble. And after 60, your gut is often more sensitive to them than it used to be. Heavily processed foods, very sugary foods, and greasy deep-fried foods are common culprits that can leave you bloated, sluggish, and uncomfortable. Too much of them gives your digestion a hard time and doesn't feed those good gut bacteria at all. And here's something else worth knowing gently. Some medications can affect your digestion too, sometimes causing constipation or other changes. So if you've noticed a change in your digestion after starting a new medicine, that's absolutely worth mentioning to your doctor. Never stop a medication on your own, but do have that conversation. It also helps to pay quiet attention to which particular foods seem to disagree with you personally, since we're all a little different, and to enjoy those more sparingly. Listen to your own gut. It usually tells you what it likes. And if these habits are helping you today, please do subscribe so we can keep looking after ourselves together. Now, the seventh and final habit, and the one I most want you to remember. The seventh habit is this. Never ignore a lasting change in your digestion. Let your doctor know. Please hold on to this one, because it's the habit that keeps you safe. Now, everything we've talked about today, the occasional bloating, the slower digestion, the need for more fiber and water, these are the ordinary, gentle changes that so many of us can improve with simple habits. But there's an important difference between those everyday things and a new lasting change that isn't quite right. So I want you to gently know the kinds of signs that are worth bringing to your doctor rather than brushing aside. A noticeable and lasting change in your bowel habits that doesn't settle. Ongoing stomach pain that keeps coming back. Any bleeding or blood where there shouldn't be. Losing weight without meaning to. Or trouble swallowing, or a lasting loss of appetite. Now please don't let this list worry you. That is not why I'm sharing it. Very often, these things turn out to be something simple and easily sorted. I'm sharing it because far too many people notice a real change and quietly tell themselves, "Oh, it's just my age," and they wait, and they say nothing. And with anything to do with our health, catching a concern early is always, always the wiser and kinder path. So if something in your digestion changes and simply stays changed, or if you notice any of those signs, don't sit and worry about it alone, and don't wait and hope it passes. Simply make an appointment and let your doctor take a look. Most often it brings reassurance and peace of mind, and when it doesn't, you'll be so grateful you spoke up early. Listening to your gut in this way is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself. That's the 7th habit. So there we have it. 7 simple habits for a happier gut and better digestion after 60. Let's gather them all up one last time so they stay with you. Get enough fiber, adding it slowly. Drink enough water through the day. Bring in friendly bacteria with foods like plain yogurt and kefir. Keep your body gently moving. Slow down and eat calmly, and chew well. Be mindful of the foods and things that upset your gut, and never ignore a lasting change in your digestion. Not one of these is complicated, and every single one is something you can begin this very week. So don't feel you must do them all at once. Just choose the one that spoke to you most. And if I may gently suggest a place to start, for so many people, simply drinking a little more water and adding a bit more fiber, slowly, makes a real and noticeable difference within just a week or 2. That's a lovely, easy first step. Because a happy, comfortable gut isn't a small thing at all. It's the very foundation of your energy, your comfort, and how well your whole body feels every single day. So now I'd love to hear from you. Tell me down in the comments, which of these 7 habits are you going to start with? And has your digestion changed as you've gotten older? I read every single comment, and I so look forward to hearing from you. And if this helped you today, please give it a like, so more wonderful people our age can find it too, and do subscribe, so we can keep taking good care of ourselves, together. Take very good care of yourself, inside and out, and I will see you very soon, in the next one.